Hello, I'm Aaron Zimmerman, and by the end of this video, you'll see how to write a text-based game of tic-tac-toe in the Python programming language with the help of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is an artificial intelligence that can, among other things, write programs from a given description. ChatGPT is almost like a programming language of its own, because depending on the quality of the queries, there will be varying results. So in the process of programming, we must develop our communication skills. At chat.openai.com, I've signed in with my Google account. There are other sign-in options. ChatGPT 3.5 is free. Version 4 has a monthly subscription cost. I always start my queries with please write and then the programming language I'm working with, program. My first intuition is to make a step-by-step list of what I want to occur, but actually to leave the implementation out of the description and to let ChatGPT decide what is best has worked best for me, unless a step-by-step list is necessary. So all we need to do is describe, please write a Python program of a text-based game of tic-tac-toe. And now we have our code. ChatGPT isn't always perfect, so we'll have to click this copy code button to see if it works. Copy code, then we'll head over to Google search and search run Python online and click the first result. Now I'll paste the code into the interpreter and click run. And now let's see if it works. So I'll start with enter row 1, enter column 1. For the strongest play, we should always start with the center cell. And see, so now it's saying enter what the player O will do. I actually expected there to be a computer that we're playing against. So let's head back to ChatGPT and ask for a change. So when querying ChatGPT, we don't need to start over. I'll just make the query, please make the O player automatically play a random cell, and copy the results into the interpreter. And let's see how it plays after that change. So I'll play the center cell once again for the strongest play. O chooses the right. I'll just keep playing. And after I've won, I can now see this congratulations message. After playing this a couple of times, I found that there's also error correction built into this. If you choose an invalid cell, it will just ask you to choose again. So now let's take a look at the source code. So first thing I noticed is the different functions that are available. There's the print board function, the check winner function, and the isDraw function. Those three functions are utilized by the main function in order to actually do the main game loop. Next, I want to know what is the data type that we're working with. In this case, the board is being passed around a lot, so knowing what a board is very helpful. So we notice as the board is being used over here, it's being accessed with ij, so it's a two-dimensional array. And here is where the board gets initialized, so it's a two-dimensional array, starting with every cell being a space. In order to initialize the board, two array shorthands are used, and so I've written the hard-coded version of what these shorthands are so that you can hopefully understand this a little bit better. This is completely identical with this previous line. Then, to incorporate the shorthand halfway, I've used this range array shorthand 3 times to show you what it would look like each time it's being used. This function right here, range 3, that's identical to this array here, 0, 1, 2. The mapping shorthand works a lot like a for loop. It takes each of these values one by one, and it assigns them to the variable name here, which is underscore because we don't use that value. Underscore is a valid variable name. And so we just replace that value with a space every time. And now if we look at the deeper mapping shorthand, we can see that these values 0, 1, 2 right here are being mapped to a list of 3 spaces, just like we did here. So those are the main concepts of this source code. Now, let's try to make some changes. The first thing I noticed when running this source code is that this cell isn't displayed. So let's take a look into why this cell isn't being printed. So in this print board function, I'll copy this line here with the dashes. This one makes the horizontal lines dividing the rows. And I'll copy that to before the board is being printed. This is for each row, so I want it to be before the for loop. And let's play a couple of turns to see if it consistently prints the board well. Looks good. Next, let's make the left and right borders of the tic-tac-toe game. Each time a line is being printed, I will add a vertical bar character to make the left and right borders. And that can just be added to the string. You can add 2 strings to concatenate them together. And we'll see if each line compiles one at a time. So I'll just click run and do the same for the horizontal row dividers. And copy paste to get the topmost border. And finally, play a couple of turns to see if it all works as expected. And there we have it, a game of tic-tac-toe. In later videos, we will be programming artificial intelligences. In order to incorporate our game of tic-tac-toe into an artificial intelligence, we need to write a function that maps the board data to a generic percept. A percept is an object of perception. All percepts are some sort of list of floating point values from 0 to 1. So an empty cell would be 1, 0, 0. An X cell would be 0, 1, 0. A Y cell would be 0, 0, 1. The reason for this is because each value represents a hypothesis, where a 1 value means that that hypothesis is true, and a 0 represents uncertainty, not the contrapositive being true. I suggest that this could be your homework until those later videos.